the coordinates for Dantooine are da 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 da. I'm leaving from da 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 da. I didn't mean to do 1,000 miles, and I missed you. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that.
Welcome back, everyone. I got really close to the mic, and I apologize. To Pro and Noob, season 2, whatever you want to call it. We're doing Cowboy Bebop this time. So,
yes, we are.
Mitch 692, Jarod.
Other way. There you go.
I can't do it on. No.
You'll get it eventually, buddy.
I won't. I won't. I'll tell you right now. I won't.
I'm excited for this one. You
should be.
You know, this is one I have very, very minimal exposure to.
I say you've watched a couple of episodes, right?
I think I've seen like the first 3, like 5 years ago. 6 years ago.
Cool. That's right.
5-6 years ago, I saw the first 3 episodes. Yeah. I mean, and hey, like we're kind of like, obviously it's not quite as in my backyard as our like mini season on Clone Wars was, but like, you know, spacefaring bounty hunter with a heart of gold is, you know,
this might piss
closer. It's like the next yard over.
This might piss you off considering the conversation we had just before this. Now you know how I feel about the Mandalorian. I adore that show. I will bat for even season 3. I know people don't like that season. Well, whatever the last season was, I get confused because it's been so fucking long.
It was 3.
Part of me wishes Mando took a bit more from Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. I think that the Mandalorian did an interesting thing where, because Lucasfilm wanted so badly to hide Grogu early on, they really presented the show as a adventure
Space
of the
Western.
week. A space Western. And there's still a lot of that in there.
Oh yeah, there's still,
there's a lot of it
it's
in,
very
that,
much
in its
there.
DNA. And a lot, it's season 2 and 3 and a lot of Book of Boba Fett, you know, very much.
Definitely Book of Boba Fett, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we even get like, you know, like kind of like a standoff between Boba Fett and Cad Bane. You know, I understand that, and there is a part of me that does wish, you know, we got a little bit more of that. I think it's insane that Mandalorian has been so successful, and it never really got tie-in material. Like, it was supposed to have a book. There was supposed to be a novel that took place before season 1. Written by Adam Christopher, who wrote Shadow of the Sith, which is one of the best canon novels. But yeah, like it was supposed to, and then that got canned. And I think the only real tie-in material has been like comic book adaptations of the first 2 seasons, and maybe even only the first season. Now that I think about it,
which is funny because that's kind of how this went as well.
Yeah, really.
This is an anime original, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So we got all 3 of the anime we've covered has all existed as on-screen media first. Yeah. That's funny. But
we will absolutely be getting to manga first, anime second.
But I hear that. And there's also a part of me I think is excited for that, you know, to get that here. But I'm pumped for this. Like I said, I've seen the first few episodes. I've heard the theme song for this.
Everyone's heard the same song.
Yeah, this is not a. I sat down to watch Evangelion for the first time, and then heard the music and went, "Oh, that's where that's from." Like, I know that when I sit down, I'm going to get that 3, 2, 1. Let's kick it.
Nothing. The anime in jazz is like peanut butter and chocolate. I don't know who first thought of it, but. So I apologize right now for everyone. By the time this is done, Jared's personality is absolutely going to be changed. He's not going to be the same person. To the whole country of Japan, if he does make it there, I apologize. This man's going to
throw out all of the Roosevelts I've already packed. I will be dressing like Spike Spiegel the entire trip, Siggy and everything. Just, you know,
can't do that in Japan.
No.
Unless you're Yakuza, I don't think you want people to think that.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I got to let my group chat know because they were like, I want to smoke a cigarette in the neon lights of Japan, and I was like,
there are certain spaces where you can, but they're like proper fump.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
You can't just walk down the street like.
I mean, that would be a wild turn for like a significant chunk of like the Star Wars YouTuber podcasting space to turn Yakuza.
So wear sunglasses if you want to be Yakuza as well.
That is not true. That is not true, actually.
You sure?
I literally just saw a TikTok yesterday where it was a Japanese guy who was like reacting, and normally that's content I find fucking just drex, but but it was this guy reacting to like Japan travel tips, and the first first one was like this white lady who was like, things only tourists do that the Japanese don't, and it was like wearing sunglasses. People in Japan avoid wearing sunglasses. It was very Burger King foot lettuce, like or it was like people in Japan avoid wearing sunglasses as they are strongly associated with the Yakuza. And the guy paused it and said, "No, if it's bright, feel free to wear sunglasses. That's an insane thing to say." So,
my defense, I've heard that since I was like 12, so it's been stuck in my brain.
It's like, if you go to New York, don't eat spaghetti, otherwise they'll think you're in the mob. Like, it's kind of.
I mean, that would, with how deranged and insane America is, that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. And I think you couldn't blame me.
No.
It's the only people in Italy who wear blazers are the mob. It's fair.
That's disappointing.
It's true, though. No. But we are doing a slight tweak to the format of the show.
Yes.
Only slightly. We are going to be talking about a little bit. Obviously, we've spoken about it a little bit already, but we're going to be doing maybe a couple more minutes more. Yeah, that was right. I thought my mushmouth kicked in then. And then we're going to have a nice little pause. Going to go watch episode 1, come back, discuss. I tried to do that. That didn't work out.
And anybody who is watching along with us who lives in the States, Cowboy Bebop is on Hulu.
Yes, it's not on Netflix like I thought.
It's not on Netflix anymore. It is on Hulu. I initially either watched it on Netflix or I watched it on Kiss Anime. The first 3 episodes.
I don't think you can even do that anymore. I think Kiss Anime got nuked.
I think it did too.
R.I.P.
You want to hear a funny? You want to hear a funny, like fully non sequitur story about Kiss Anime and my friend?
Shoot, go.
So, former Nerd Academy podcast contributor Levi Baum. He was my original, I was his anime Padawan first.
I stole him.
And yes, and we would watch. He's the one. It was me, him, and Travis. We would watch just like entire seasons of My Hero in a night. And
as you do,
and we did it using Kiss Anime, but like between episodes, it would do like the weird captchas, but with like
classic,
just cartoonishly proportioned anime women. And there was one time, I don't even remember the prompt, but it was like one of the anime girls was named Tiffy, and she had what I could only describe as like
big old Tiffies.
Z cup breasts. They were double Z's. They were cartoonishly big. And her name was Tiffy. And I looked at Travis and Levi, and it's like 4 in the goddamn morning, and we're just like pizza and caffeine addled. And I just went, Tiffy, is that what they call them? And we all thought that was the funniest thing I've ever said in my life. And then months later, we were all getting ready to do a camping trip, and I bought a decently sized JBL Bluetooth speaker. And I showed up to camp holding it, and I said, all right, I was like, we got to find a name for this. I was like, we got to name it. And within moments of saying that, me, Travis, and Levi all locked eyes and went, Tiffy. And I just started calling it, like it was named Tiffy on our phones. And I started calling it Tiffy to the point where one time I was looking for my speaker when I still lived with my family. And I looked at my mom and I said, hey, Mom, do you know where Tiffy is? And she went, what the fuck did you just say? Who the fuck is Tiffy? And I went, oh, my speaker. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And then everybody just accepted that. Everybody in my family just accepted that the speaker was named Tiffy, up to and including instances where my mother and my father and my brother would all, with like semi-frequency, be like, hey, do you mind if I borrow Tiffy? And I was like, yeah, she's all yours. And so.
They're all yours. Well,
yeah.
The anime set I used to use is still up and running. So that thing is an old boy. Yeah. That's been going for so long. Good damn. But we don't do that no more.
Do you have any grilling for me? Do you have any grilling for me about like similar to Evangelion or like, I mean, I don't want to say that this show has like less meat on the bone. Obviously, I couldn't say that with any amount of certainty or authority. But like, I assume that Cowboy Bebop is not as like heavy and conceptual as Evangelion.
Conceptual, no. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, so this goes to a heavier place than I think.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's fair to say without trying to give anything away. I'm not going to play like Evangelion again, where so what's going to happen next? Because it's not that kind of a show. It is more
for sure, like
a case of like week to week sort of thing. Obviously, it has an overarching plot, and the reason I would have done this in arcs, and that's probably what we're going to do for a lot of stuff going forward. Ow, my knee just cracked. I'm old.
I heard it.
Did you actually hear that?
I heard like a little.
Yeah, that was my left knee just deciding to die on me. But a lot of the arcs in this happen over multiple episodes. But you'll get a bit of the start here, and then it will end way over there.
Okay.
I tilted my whole body there. I just realized. That was not a heart going out to you moment.
No, it was more like Randy Orton pose too. Like,
yeah, we're fine. We're fine on this channel. So yeah,
I'm excited.
You should be. I think you should be. I think you should be because this is a classic. Also, not going to do the movie. I find the movie horrifically boring.
Okay.
So we're gonna just completely. It's just the 26 episodes.
Excellent.
And we are gonna. So we are now back. We have watched episode or no?
Yes.
Gee, depending on where you are from. So, obviously you've seen it before.
So long ago, I was like, I have vague. So like going in, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to make a fool of myself. I had like vague memories of the like, there's something weird about the food. I was like, it's sci-fi, but like they have normal like ammunition. It's not like blaster bolts. It's just like normal like, bullets. It's not laser guns. And I remembered there's a pregnant lady who's not pregnant. Like that's literally all I remembered aside from like the show having a lot of fucking sauce. I just couldn't quantify the sauce.
Rounding the sauce. God damn.
I truly think, like, again, I'm the noob. This goes for like anime, American animation, live action, whatever. I think there are very few pieces of television that you can sit down and watch and have as much of a full experience with as I just did with the pilot of this show.
It's so good.
It truly felt like a short film that like I came out of that first episode so fulfilled that I'm like, there's a part of me that's almost like, I don't feel like I even need to watch the rest of the show. That romp. I do. And I look forward to it, but like, that was just such a fun, it was such a fun like short film.
Yeah.
You get that little flash at the beginning of Spike, reflecting back onto this shootout as he's obviously mourning and smoking in like a rainy alley, and he drops the rose in the puddle. That like again, there's so little given to you, but so much implied. That again,
I found it very concise.
It's very concise, but there's something to the storytelling here that, again, like almost in direct opposition to Evangelion. Where when we watched Evangelion, and that's just going to be the comparison point because that was the most recent series we watched. There was, we're going to give you like an eyedropper worth of context, maybe every couple episodes, and you need to subsist off of that, and it was maddening, not in a bad way, where it was like I'm being given so little, and I can tell that there's so much under the surface, and I'm just begging to dig deeper. I'm begging to dig deeper, and I know it's coming, but I'm getting impatient. I almost have the inverse reaction to how it is presented here, that it is so very much, for lack of a better term, vibes based.
Yeah. No,
that it is so deeply like, here is this scoundrel bounty hunter who is, playing, and again, y'all know I come from Star Wars land. So like, he has that Han Solo quality to him, that like, oh, I'm so above it all. I've seen everything. You can't surprise me. The Millennium Falcon. You haven't heard of the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs? Like there is that quality to Spike where he is trying so hard to play up this idea that he's too cool for school, and that like he is so unaffected.
Let's be fair. He is.
Oh, he has the sauce, much like Han. Like, it's easy to believe that this guy is too cool for school, but like there is something gnawing at him, and it's something we only know because we saw that little prologue. That is so devoid of context, but like, it's like, oh, like you're so above it all and you're so cool, but there's something gnawing at you and we can tell. And, this is the ideal setting for that archetype. It is, again, it's why I think Din Djarin is such a compelling character. It's why Han Solo is such a compelling character. To a similar extent, I think that applies to Lando Calrissian,
It's that space scoundrel.
Space scoundrel. Honestly, like Spike, again, and this is after 20 minutes, Spike does kind of feel like a very fascinating, like Superboy-esque splicing of Han and Lando.
Yeah.
Like,
it wouldn't surprise me if it is, to be honest. It would not surprise me in the slightest. Because
he has that Lando swagger.
And the yellow as well. Same color.
Yeah, the yellow and the collar, like again, using the Star Wars comparison, like I can see Lando doing the way that he was putting the moves on the not pregnant lady at the fuel depot, where that whole like, oh yeah, and she's like giggling and tee-heeing at him and is clearly, smitten. But he also has that hard edge. Like I could hear him saying the words, "You haven't heard of the Bebop, the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs," and that whole like, yeah, listen, this is a thrill in hunting the small fries, like that sounds like Han. That sounds like Han to me. And yeah, no, I really like that. And like I said, but like back to the comparison I was making with Evangelion, if it feels like I'm getting a droplet and I want to dig deeper and it's driving me crazy that I can't. Here, like I was given just enough to know exactly who this guy is.
Yeah.
Or exactly who this guy wants me to think he is.
Yeah. I got what you meant. Yeah.
And that's always the fun thing with these character types. With a Spike Spiegel, with a Ionized Bastards plug, because we're in the midst of the final season.
Finally back, baby.
It's Thalbor.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent, it's Fabian, where it's that like, I want you to think of me as this. Yeah. Because it's easier for me to be this kind of shitty thing than to be perceived for my humanity. And again, this is, and like when he's meeting with that, ethnically questionable shaman.
It's 1998, Jarod. You have to cut Japan.
It's as old as me. It's as old as me. When you know better, you do better. It's whatever. But it's very the whole women. I've been killed by a woman before, and the person's like, you don't take women seriously enough. It's like to the contrary, and it's like, okay, like you have a full past. There's something you're running from.
Clearly a woman.
Yeah, clearly a woman. I found that very compelling. What was the name of the guy who was chasing down? I just lost it.
Oh, it's
the very Russian name.
Amzoth. It's something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
it's one of those names where we've obviously both
Asimov.
Heard it. Asimov. Yeah, it's been like 2 minutes since we stopped the episode. It's one of those names you don't really ever hear it that clearly. It's kind of.
I couldn't remember how to say it. I couldn't remember how to say it, but I was like, oh yeah, it's the robotics guy, Isaac Asimov. But no, he was a fun episode 1 villain, or bounty, I guess I should say. Because this very much feels like a story where there are no heroes and everyone's kind of a sack of shit, but there are no heroes for the Squatch, from my knowledge fight fans. And yeah, no, I really like that. Again, I like the way that this world feels so full inside of 20 minutes. There is they, without a word, they address, okay, this is a spacefaring society, and they kind of take the Marvel approach to, beyond light speed travel, that it seems like there's kind of like an interconnected, almost like tunnel system of wormhole portal type things.
Well, I'm certain they either got it from somewhere or they started it. 'Cause I was going to say it's more Mass Effect than anything.
I've never played Mass Effect.
Oh, Jarod.
I'm just saying, in terms of there is a gateway here where you can fly super duper fast.
They have space roads, space highways.
Space roads, as opposed to Star Wars, where there are hyperspace lanes that are designated for travel in certain regions of the galaxy. But you still kind of have to go, okay, I'm going in this direction. The coordinates for Dantooine are da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm leaving from da-da-da-da-da-da. I didn't mean to do 1,000 miles. And I missed you. I didn't mean to do that.
I wasn't sure if you did it, and I was
jump to light speed. Punch it, Chewy. Anyway. But no, again, it's just it's so economic in how it is just building out this world. And again, that's my thing is I obviously want to experience more of this story, and I want to get to know Spike better, and I want to see what he's hiding, what he's running from. His cyborg pilot / chef. He has so much aura, and I love it. I want to know more about these guys. I want to know more about this world they're in. But this first episode just plays so beautifully as a short film. It truly does. It feels like a short film. It truly does, where it's just here's a whole lot of, ambiance, and here's a whole lot of, tone setting and accoutrement. And the characters are not super complex, but they are complicated. There is a lot going on. This Asimov guy, everybody feels like they were a thing that they are now not, and they aren't quite sure about the thing they are now. This Asimov guy, he was working for this syndicate. He double-crossed them. He boosted a bunch of their shit, and now he's trying to sell it on the black market so that he can retire with his girlfriend. His girlfriend is now living a life she clearly did not ever want to be a part of, but she's along for the ride because this is their ticket to Mars. Spike, again, clearly I don't think this was the life he wanted, but whatever tragedy that he had to live through set him on this path. which puts him in a compelling, contrast with Asimov and baby bump performance enhancing drugs. There are a lot of creative choices I find compelling. Again, I think it is a interesting and, for lack of a better term, kind of brave move to go spaceship, sci-fi, spacefaring, super drugs, cyborgs, and this is a Glock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and again,
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know the history of the show that well, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a case of, right, we're in the 90s, we need sci-fi. Yeah. But I don't want to do sci-fi. I want to do a Western. Western wasn't really done at all if there was a handful of them in anime at the time. So it's like, I want to do this, but I had to fit into this mold. I'm just going to slam two together.
But even then, that's what makes that choice so compelling, is that you could theoretically make the argument that you could do laser guns in Western, and it even feel more Western because it is not like the laser gun as a weapon is obviously more advanced and more deadly than like a normal, lead bullet round. But the technology is not as advanced in terms of like, arming, if a shot from this is worse than a shot from this, but we don't have things like automatic weapons. We don't have things like submachine guns of this. We have, for the most part, a rifle that goes pew pew, and we have a pistol that goes pew pew, but we don't have something that goes grrr, and they have.
Oh, they do. They do.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like you could make you could like not retroactively, but you could kind of like yada 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 into having more cowboyish weapons because they're laser guns. Whereas, but they made the choice to not only go with traditional firearms, they went to go with contemporary firearms where they have these automatic rifles and stuff. And I think that's, again, I think it's a very compelling fusion of aesthetic. Where it is spacefaring cyberpunk future mixed with like contemporary Western, like contemporary in the sense of like a No Country for Old Men is a Western movie.
Yeah.
Where like, there's gas stations and we have cars and there's air conditioning and, like there's a ceiling fan in the bar that you can blow to smithereens, but it's also anime and it's also, an action adventure thing. And it's also spacefaring, sci-fi, cyberpunk, futurism, whatever. And that's really compelling. Like, I hate to say that, like, I don't have much to say about this episode because it makes it sound like I didn't have like a big takeaway. I just come away from it going like, this is compelling. Like,
well, I think that's all the first episode really is set out to do. It's just it's like, hey, look how different this is compared to everything else. You're hot off the heels of something like an Evangelion that just steamrolled Japan. Like it needs to, you had a bunch of clones like Vision of Escaflowne at the time of Ava, and to come out here swinging like that with something like this. Not that I think this was ever that popular in Japan. I think it's actually ironically more popular in the West. I'm
shocked by that.
Purely because it is a West.
I mean, yeah, but no, truly, look at it's kind of part of like the very funny tradition that Star Wars plays a very compelling role in of the samurai movie.
Yeah.
Heavily influences the cowboy movie, which then kind of like has an echo effect back to the samurai movie. And then after that, like weird kind of cycle and like almost
Ouroboros. So Seven Samurai becomes a Magnificent Seven, and Magnificent Seven becomes this.
It's
so
and
much,
then all of it turns into Star Wars. And then you have all of it in one thing where there are decidedly Western, like not like the region, but like Western genre aesthetics and ideas and presentations with a lot of Eastern samurai philosophy set in a Frank Herbert-esque sci-fi landscape, that takes all of the sci-fi aesthetic, but goes full bore into fairy tale storytelling. And then we watch that explode back out and start influencing the original types of media that influenced it. So, like, yeah, I can see exactly how we get Cowboy fucking Bebop. It's one of those things where, again, like, and you guys might hear me talk about Star Wars more here than I talked about it with Evangelion, just because, like, again, there's some overlap here.
It's more comparable here. Yeah.
It's more comparable. And yeah, I just, it's one of those, like, God, like, I can see so many influences, like, just, it's like you're playing a game of Pong, where I'm watching, like, again, like, I'm watching Kurosawa turn into the spaghetti Western, turn into Star Wars, turn into, like, a broader concept of the spacefaring scoundrel with a heart of gold, like, become Bebop, and knowing, like, the Star Wars storytelling that would come after Bebop, seeing, like, oh, I could see how this ended up directly or indirectly influencing this. Like I said, I'm watching this first episode and I'm watching this cultural game of Pong be played. And like you said, like, it's like, I don't have a lot to say, like, that stuff that we said even before I watched it. I know the music is remarkable. The fight choreography I know is remarkable. I know that this show has so much sauce. I come away from it going, this felt like an incredible short film that was an amazing proof of concept for people to buy in and go, wow, that was so goddamn cool. What does he get up to next?
Quick question though.
What's up?
So I can't remember exactly where they introduced it. Did you meet Faye when you watched this the first time around?
No, I remember. I truly think I may have just watched the first episode. I don't remember.
That's crazy. Wow. That's very interesting.
But yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of on the shorter end. But, like, I think that's kind of.
I just, you can extend the influential conversation, because I wasn't going to bring it up at this point, but it just made me think of it, because I found out a couple of weeks ago that the whole, like, anime aesthetic is from Disney.
Yeah.
Like the guy who made, I can't remember his name, but the guy who made Astrobot was influenced by the old Disney cartoons, like the 40s. So I assume, if anything, it's probably going to be Snow White, because the dwarfs have that.
Those, like, big doe eyes.
And then that leads to that, and then that leads to stuff like Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon, which Sailor Moon was the first that had the big sparkly eyes, and because animation budgets, they focused on the eyes, and then that leads into that, and now we got Western cartoons doing all that sort of stuff, and it's cyclical nature's funny.
Yeah, no, it's very compelling. Again, it's like one of my. I think I talked about it when we did Clone Wars. Like, then this is more on, like, the philosophical end of things, but, like, this documentary that the History Channel did called Star Wars: The Legacy Revealed, where, like, I was in the 4th grade watching this documentary every day, where it was talking about, like, Joseph Campbell and, like, Eastern philosophy, and the history of the rise of the Third Reich, and how, like, all of these things that, like, when you're watching the like Lucas 6 movie saga, that, like, that when you have your eyes open, you're like, oh my God, this is incredible. Now granted, I was 11 learning about this, and there are still people who call themselves fans to this day who say it's not political, and to that I say, grow the fuck up. But love your space wizards intelligently. But, like, I feel like I'm at the epicenter watching this first episode, having also come off of Neon Genesis Evangelion and Princess Mononoke, that, like, I feel like I'm, like, at this epicenter of, like, oh, like, I am now, like, 1, 2, 3 stories and pieces of media that reverberated out from an art form and redefined an art form. And I really do like the way you're sequencing what we're covering, because like I said, like I feel like I'm watching an artistic revolution happen in front of me. Like that, I'm watching like the anime genre like go into, you know, again, I'm not familiar enough with it, so if I say something blasphemous here, you know, flame me in the comments. But like going into what I would say as a noob, as the outsider, was like kind of a golden age for like shonen and genre anime.
Well,
that I'm watching it come into its own and like begin these first like big haymakers of you know.
Say for shonen wise, you're right on the cusp, because obviously you had Dragon Ball and that was in the 80s, and then you had Dragon Ball Z and that was late 80s, early 90s, and you had GT, which finished around the same time. It might have been 96 GT finished, but we don't talk about GT really. But then obviously that gave you One Piece, and then the golden era shonen really was the 2000s. Yeah,
and I mean, granted, I'm saying shonen as it's been kind of like, you know, in the same way we say comic book movie, and that's everything from the Avengers to fucking Sin City.
True.
To 300. You know, where like it's wild, like that is such a wide swath that it's like it's barely a genre and more a classification of what it was based off of. But like I'm using shonen in that very admittedly Americanized term of like action genre based.
Well, that's what shonen. Shonen is. I think shonen literally means young boy or something like that. Or actually, it's something to that effect. Obviously, it's aimed at the teenage boys. That's why you get your Dragon Balls, your Narutos, your Bleaches, your One Piece. You get all the battle shonen. Obviously, shonen's not one small thing. There's
of course, and that's why I'm trying to avoid painting with too broad a brush.
Oh yeah. I was just more. I was just more throwing it out there. Like shonen is just one genre of everything that I about. I don't know if is this a shonen. No. I'm not entirely sure what I class this as, to be honest.
But either way, it does feel like, again, this like legendary golden age of this art form. Like I can tell that I am watching media that was on the precipice of that laid the groundwork for.
See, the 90s was definitely
footsteps to
It was definitely a time for the industry, because anime isn't really that old. I want to say the 70s. Anime kind of really started, and then obviously you transform as it goes on, and you get your Dragon Balls, and it starts booming with the 90s with Neon Genesis, Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Pokemon, especially. Christ, that thing was massive, still is. And then you get your Bleaches, I've got the name, but Naruto's and your One Pieces, and then it just carries on booming from there. So we're definitely, I was supposed to say the 90s is like a silver age or a golden age.
Yeah.
It's definitely
nothing. Sort of like I said, like a pre-golden age, like like it's about to get on and popping, and now we're here. But
yeah,
like
especially because obviously this was one of the big like Toonami Vanguard series back in the day.
Yeah,
and going back to what you said about introducing you like these three things at the time, like that wasn't intentional. That was just, I wasn't planning straight ahead to go, right, I started these ones, so I'm going to have him start on these ones. But it's working out that way somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, like I don't have a lot to say for this first episode other than it has the sauce. I am absolutely hooked, and I'm looking forward to more.
You should be looking forward to more. Not that I don't think you'll ever see it coming. And that's not the line of the song. And that's what I get for trying to do that line of the song. But
you'll never know what it you.
Or maybe you won't. I don't know, actually. I'm interested to see how you go along with this show.
What, is there another thing that you're waiting to see if I can predict it from a mile away like a crazy person?
Not necessarily, but I'm interested to see if you go that route with it. But
well, time will tell. Time will tell, my friend.
It shall indeed. So that's going to bring us to an end for this one.
Yeah.
For our first 0 episodes. No, it's our second. It's our third, actually. I tell a lie. I can't count.
So, yeah, I put episode 1 in like the StreamYard name because I was like, we're watching the first episode, so I don't know how you want to count this.
I might put it as 1. I don't know, to be honest. Because obviously we're not doing episode by episode. Not that it mattered for Evangelion, because that went for as long as the series did, near enough. Or was it one shot? I can't remember.
Something like that. Anyway, it was close.
So you can find me, obviously, here on the socials, in the link trees, along the bottom of the screen. You can find Jarod. He's pointing that one. He has no idea, actually, if I've moved the name tags.
No, I was just pointing in your direction.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, you can follow Jarod at TNAP, the Nerd Academy Podcast, on the socials, on the screen right now.
Mm-hmm. And also,
I wasn't going to let you do that this time, but
also at Epic Confrontations, we have a very big multi-man teams match coming up that has been a absolute nightmare to schedule. I'm sorry. But we have it finally locked in to record this Sunday. And there was a last-minute shakeup with the teams. Andy from Force Friends Rewatch, their team, which has my bitter rival Alden Diaz on it. He texted my group chat and said, last minute shakeup with the teams, with the gif of Bruce Banner in Infinity War going, "Oh, you guys are screwed now." And I don't know what that means. I don't know who the new teammate is.
Classic.
So hopefully tune in to the Star Wars in a Galaxy, YouTube channel. I drank a beer and now I have the hiccups.
Lightweight.
Where hopefully I'm not drunk, I just have the hiccups. I'm like Travis, who will have a cocktail and won't be able to walk. But hopefully you guys tune in, see me get my first win on Alden. And then, like I said earlier, we're in the final season of Ionized Bastards. We are, by the time this is out, we are 3 episodes into the final season. I don't know how many episodes there will be total. But yeah, first 2 episodes were a lot of fun. There is I won't spoil anything in particular, but I will say we have had officially our first pre-existing Star Wars character actually show up in the show, which is very fun. I don't count.
I had that spoiled for me. I had that spoiled for me. I think it was Eli and Blue Sky.
No, it was me because I just said it, and then Eli was like, "Wow, you just said it," and I was like, "I'll delete it."
No, I don't think it was. I think it actually was. I don't know why I'm looking at Blue Sky. It was fucking 3 weeks ago, but I want to say it was Eli.
So you know who it is?
Yeah, because I watched it as well.
Oh, I was about to ask. Are you caught up? Cool.
I'm not caught up. No, I've watched episode 1.
Okay. So yeah, the second episode's a lot of fun. That's where the Star Wars character who already exists shows up. I don't count Grand Inquisitor showing up in one of Fabian's flashbacks during one of his visions while he's meditating. I don't count that. So technically the second if you count Grand Inquisitor for a moment. But that's a thing. And if you follow me on Blue Sky, you will know that we ended the episode. We began the season at "We Are So Back," and the 3rd episode ended decidedly at "It Is So Over." Our backs are against the wall, and I was like, it's only a matter of time until things get real fucking scary this season. And now they are real fucking scary. And Godspeed.
I need Jarod to lose.
Are you rooting for the death of Fabian Martel? Is that what you're saying?
Since the first season, yeah.
What a dick! What a dick you are!
No. It's nothing personal. I just want to see how you'd handle it if it happens.
We almost had to find out at the end of season 2.
We did.
I can tell you this.
Even more of a case of like, kill him. No.
Well, I will accept your backhanded compliment of I want your character to die because you want to see how I handle taking a second character on in this one show. I can tell you that I've known for some time that would anything happen to Fabe, and I knew who my backup character was.
I mean, that bit I think I knew, but obviously you guys have backup characters, but it's like how...
I'm the only person who's put any thought into a backup character.
Oh, really? Wow.
If anything happens to 4D or Thawbor, Alden and Jerry are fully back at the drawing board. Wow. If at this stage of the game, I'm not even kidding. If something happened to those characters, I think they would just stop showing up to recordings. And there's a part of me that, again, at this stage of the game for the final season of this show, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
If you're done, you're done. Like there's no coming back from it, you know?
No. It's good stuff. Go watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, very exciting stuff. So.
And where can people watch it?
All remaining systems on YouTube. Ooh, almost took my table out on that one. I think.
Sorry, I apologize for that one.
No, you're fine. At the same time you were burping, I almost flipped the table because my thumb got hooked in the one bar. So
flipping a table with just one thumb would have been really fine to see.
Yeah. I don't know my own strength. But yeah, that's all we got for this week. Thank you all so very much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe here at Mitch692. And see you next time, Cowboy.
I just let him do the outro for no reason. No.
Yeah, but I want to hit the see you next time, Cowboy.
No. I'm glad you did that because I was planning to do that.
Well, I did it first. Like a good red-blooded American.